Hello, everybody, and welcome to Virtual Bourbon. My name is Steve Akley. We have a fun event tonight. We're going to be trying some of Buffalo Trace's products. We've got 4 different offerings. We're going to be trying the regular standard Buffalo Trace, their flagship whiskey, which comes in at 90 proof. We'll also be trying Benchmark, one of the new offerings that they've got, a 100 proof bottled and bond version. We'll also be trying George T. Stagg and Stagg Jr. That's the order we'll go. We'll follow the proofs on these, so we'll go up the scale. So again, we'll be starting with the Buffalo Trace 90 proof. That'll be the first offering. We'll do this like we always do. We'll go through one time, taste them. Group is small here. We can all contribute to tasting, nosing notes, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll go through one more time just to see if anything's changed or anything like that. And after it's all done, we will vote for our favorite of the night. I think I know what it's going to be, but you never know. You have to taste. You always have to taste because things can sometimes surprise you. So we'll get to that in just a second. So our first whiskey that is coming up is Buffalo Trace. Again, 90 proof offering. It's an interesting one because depending on where you're at, it can either be very difficult to find or plentiful to find. I find in St. Louis, it's kind of a weird market because I can't find it in the liquor stores at all, but in the local grocery stores, it's pretty available. It's on the shelves. I mean, I can go to Schnucks, which is the big retailer around here, or Deerberg's is the other one, and it's out there. So it's pretty easy pickup for me. It's great price. It was kind of a game changer for me. The first time I got this, as I went to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail in the year 2000. So that launched in 1999, the Bourbon Trail. And at that time, Buffalo Trace was on there. So I went to the Bourbon Trail. The first year, they were just a regular member of the trail. And I got to try Buffalo Trace bourbon for the first time. And at that point, I always like to say I was a Jim Beam white label drinker. So pretty simple. But that trip did change my life because going on that, seeing the process, not only did I go to Buffalo Trace, but I went to Beam and Four Roses and all the ones that were on the trail at that time, did the whole Bourbon Trail, whatever the other ones were. And it was great to see the process, try a bunch of different products that I hadn't tried before, and get to see some of the people and things like that. It was a very cool thing. And I became a much different fan from that point forward. I began to seek out different bourbons and things like that. So it definitely changed me to be involved in that. Buffalo Trace itself was kind of new at that time too. Now the distillery is, one of the oldest, if not the oldest in the U.S. I know there's always some conflicting reports, but I believe it's the oldest and longest continuously run. It never closed, was open during Prohibition and everything, selling medicinal whiskey and that type of thing. And Buffalo Trace, though, was not named at that time as George T. Stagg Distillery when they took it over in 1999. Sazerac, the parent company, which is still the parent company today, privately held company out of New Orleans. They bought it and again changed the branding. It's my understanding that what they wanted to do when they took over the brand is they wanted to create a flagship whiskey, something unique that was uniquely theirs. There was, of course, existing brands affiliated with the old George T. Stagg Distillery, but they wanted something that was reflective of this new distillery, and they decided to call it Buffalo Trace, just named after their new distillery name. And it was kind of a joint project between a couple of different people. Gary Gayhart, of course, the master distiller, Elmer T. Lee, the master distiller emeritus, the guy, legendary Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Famer, and even Harlan Wheatley. Well, he was there at that time. He wasn't the master distiller at that time, but he was there, and he kind of took a leadership role even in some of the branding of it and all that. So, pretty interesting story. Fred, of course, works for Buffalo Trace. Anything else to add on top of that information about Buffalo Trace bourbon, Fred? Oops, you're on mute there. We got to pull Fred off mute.
Yeah, Sazerac bought them in 1992.
92. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Change the distillery name in 99, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. All right.
They don't move fast at all.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah. I did say
you got the rest of it there.
The rest of it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we got a good checks and balance. We got Fred here, so yes, we could, and that goes for all of these that we're going to talk about tonight too, which is really cool. Of course, Fred's a tour guide there and has worked for the company long and been a bourbon fan even longer than that. He entire career in the whiskey industry, so he's certainly well versed in anything that we'll be talking about tonight. So
you know who really got me started?
No.
And Fred, no.
Fred, no. Okay. How did that come about? Where Fred No is an influence on you?
Oh, when I was he came up to a liquor store in Pennsylvania, and there used to
Okay.
be the small batch society that they had.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
I was a member of that. I got a postcard saying he was going to be at this suburban Philadelphia store. So I went out there. He had the small batch collection there,
Yeah.
and we got to talking, and we became friends.
Huh. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really great. Cool. Well, let's do one thing before we grab it and try that. Let's pour our next one, which is going to be the benchmark, the bottled and bond benchmark. Let's just pour that, but we're going to just leave it aside as we taste our first offering, which is the Buffalo Trace.
Love the labels.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's all Justine. So Justine does all the labels, as we know. Fred, you've been doing this long enough. Casey, I don't know if you have been doing these long enough. Do you remember? Were you when I just used to handwrite them? Which my
when I got started, you were handwriting.
Okay,
and I was like, I don't know. This might be a little sketchy, but I'm gonna give it a try.
That's what Justine told me. It's not very professional. So
okay.
Yeah. You just find me online. It's different if maybe if you're listening to my, we got a podcast on. But if you're listening to that, you know who I am. I guess it's very different than someone finding us on Eventbrite, find it, and then this box shows up and it's got handwritten labels. It's like, what's going on?
That's exactly right. I did a bourbon tasting with like the LA Bourbon Society or something like that. And I was like, I want to do more of these. And then your name came up. Right. And then I got a box full of things with like tape slapped on them and Sharpie. And I was like,
why you ever came back, we don't know, but
the bourbon was good and I had fun, so that was all that was really matter.
That's good to hear. So yeah, we make a better first impression now than we did back then. So thanks, Justine. All right, boy, on the nose. Stack this up against anybody's flagship bourbon, and again, do it side by side with that. You can't put it against a top high shelf, bourbon. You put it against anybody's flagship. I mean, it just stands out. There's a lot going on there, Fred. I mean, there's vanilla, oak, cherry, definite cherry. Yeah. Gosh.
There's a lot. Nose is almost floral, the almost like there's like a perfume.
Little perfume.
Yeah, I've never gotten this from a Buffalo Trace.
It's just the vapors from the alcohol, but they just are combining in this very pleasant floral way.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Casey.
Yeah, definitely the smoke, leather, oak, vanilla.
Yeah, that's really good. All right, let's try it. First one. So let's do a little cheers here. Cheers. And let's give it a taste. I mean, again, 90 proof. Mouthfeel is really good for, at that 90 proof level. It has a finish. I mean, it's got a hug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sticks with you.
Oak, caramel, reasonably decent mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A good hug, but not too long of a finish. Not, moderate heat.
Yeah. A little bit of kind of black pepper on the end that you get right at the end. But really, very, very pleasant. Again, for a bottle you can pick up $25-$26. I mean,
now I know why there's not a bottle to be found in the state of Virginia.
You can't get it there, huh? Yeah.
Well, they're all sold out.
Yeah. It's definitely
highly in Michigan too. Kind of hard to find.
It's hard to find in Michigan. Yeah. Yeah. Justine, what are you getting on as you taste this one? Anything specific?
I didn't get the leather on the nose, but I get it a little bit on the taste.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It sounds weird to say, but it's like leather mixed with baked goods.
Leather and baked goods, yeah. Yeah, and that's something that you would ever bake. I would like a leathery tasting cake, but in the bourbon world, that works. Those are two good notes for sure. I get that.
And I definitely pick up the pepper is like on the front of your tongue. the black
Yep.
pepper.
Yeah, that's where I get it too. How about you, Casey? You look like a pro there, gently twirling it as you're.
I'm just thinking through it. I mean, it's, like I say, it's got like a little bit of caramel, oak, leather, I mean, for a $28 bottle of bourbon, this is, I don't know why anybody wouldn't have a bottle of this at all times,
Yeah.
And you're kind of getting all those different flavors balanced,
Right.
pretty equally balanced. Yeah.
Which is important to note too. I mean, sometimes when something isn't balanced, that can throw off the whole thing. But yeah, I agree. It's a nice balance of flavors. So.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely pick up a 1.75 of this, because I think you can have this in a cocktail. It's not so expensive that you can't make a nice Manhattan or old fashioned with this and have it stand up really nicely. Yeah,
I would say this would stand out nicely in a cocktail. And it would enhance the cocktail based on the flavors that you're getting. So, which is really, really a good thing. Ideally, what you're looking for, I believe. So.
Yeah, it's phenomenal for the price point. It's world class.
Yes, I agree. When you factor in that, which you always should. You can't be like, well, it needs to compete against everything that's made. No, it needs to compete against its, price point. So it's great. Great first start. Only time I've ever had one better was when Fred picked the barrel. So Fred famously picked the barrel. So. And he's got another one. It's already been picked, right, Fred? It'll be bottled. Do you have any idea when?
No, the first one I picked in December, and it was bottled February 2nd.
Okay, so you're looking at maybe a couple months here.
Yeah.
But so Casey, you missed the thing last night. So the big news is that I guess employees didn't even get a chance to buy Fred's last one. It sold out too quick.
Right.
So they allowed him to pick another one, and employees will get to buy a bottle of this one. So
nice.
Which is kind of cool. So I like that. All right, let's do our working one ahead, and we are going to go in proof order. That means the one that we're going to pour now is our George T. Stagg, not the Stagg Junior. It's the George T. Stagg. So let's pour that. But again, you're tempted just to grab it. Put that aside, though. Just leave it aside for just a little bit. Stagg is my favorite bourbon of all time. That's so. This is an interesting one. This is why when the ticket sales don't quite meet expectations, it's like, it's okay. You know what I'm left with? Most of the bottle of Stagg. So it's not a bad thing. Yeah. It's okay. So Benchmark, this is an interesting one because Benchmark's been around a long time. It's been around since the 1960s. It was a Seagram's brand, and the name really was meant to say that, it's kind of the standard, the benchmark of what a bourbon should be. And they used to make it at the Seagram's plant, which now we know, of course, as Four Roses, but at that time it wasn't, independently Four Roses. It was a Seagram's plant where they made bourbon, and that's where this product was produced. And Sazerac bought it in 1989. So even before they acquired the distillery or anything like that, they were in the whiskey or liquor business, and they purchased this brand. And today it is made at Buffalo Trace. So alongside with all the other products and things like that, it's made there. Buffalo Trace did add something too to kind of make it theirs, if you will. It's still known as Benchmark, but on the front label, it's you'll see McAfee, that name, and that it takes the name from a guy by the name of Hancock McAfee, which is one of the first European settlers, and he settled in the area where the Buffalo Trace distillery is today. So back in the 1700s, like 1775. So as a tribute to him and kind of making it their own, a product that they didn't develop, they added that McAfee on there. So that's what if you ever wonder what that means or why that's on there, that's it. Did I get that right, Fred? That's that kind of the history?
Never heard of McAfee, really. I haven't. Hancock and Willisley.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of McAfee.
It's on the front. It's on the label, though, right?
Yeah.
So I think Hancock was his first name, at least what I read today.
Okay.
Hancock McAfee. Yeah, was the guy's name.
Okay. It was Hancock McAfee.
Yes.
And Willis Lee. That's what it was.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's what it was. So yep. So, and this, of course, is part of that expansion that they did. Was this in 2020, Fred, or 2019?
That'll be
They-
2019.
I think 2019, because last year
Yeah.
was just a throwaway year. We did nothing at all happened last year, actually.
Right.
So in 2019, they came out with these 5 different benchmarks, and all great price points. And I mean, you can get a full proof, you can get a high floor, you can get a single barrel, and then this bottled and bond. And there's one more too. I forget what the other one is, but
There's a full proof. Did you mention that?
yeah, there's a full proof. I did. I think I said
Yeah.
that.
Bottled and bond
Yep,
and single barrel.
single barrel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's one more, because I know there's 5, but I don't remember what the other one is. There's one that's like the high floor, right, Fred? It's
Yeah.
like high floor,
Yeah. That's the one.
yeah. So, and I believe these are still actually distributed only in Indiana. Now I see them in Kentucky liquor stores, but they look like they're at a premium. And of course, in Kentucky, you can buy products that aren't distributed to you and sell them in your liquor store. So I think that's how they get them, because when I go to Indiana, they're priced anywhere from like $16 to $25, depending on which one you get. When I go to Kentucky, it's more like $20 to $30. So to me, that feels like they're buying them at retail and then selling them at the stores in Kentucky. So I think that's I don't think it's actually distributed in Kentucky, and it's not large scale. It's not at every liquor store you go to. It's at some, and I think I mean, they can afford to still sell a cheap product and buy it basically secondary, which is what they're doing. And again, perfectly legal. Nothing wrong with that. The Kentucky law allows them to do that. So that's just interesting. So this bottled and bond, I think, is a great value, and let's try it and see if we think it stands up to those lofty standards. So, I mean, kind of bubblegummy on the nose.
Not much of it, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Say circus peanuts.
circus peanuts. Okay, it's another classic one, the old circus peanuts.
Yep.
Okay, see how-
Bazooka gum.
bazooka gum. Yeah.
Bazooka gum.
Yeah, I get that bubble gum flavor.
Mhm.
Just a hint of vanilla.
Yeah. Maybe a little light brown sugar. So there's some interesting stuff there. Let's try it. Let's see how this see how it goes. Here we go. I mean, that's an easy drinker. It mouthfeel is good. It drinks smooth. It's kind of got a delayed fuse, though. It does
Yeah.
warm up.
Mhm.
Kind of after the fact, that as it hits the
Yeah.
mouth, it doesn't feel like it's going to be warm. It kind of warms up afterwards, kind of chest and up. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm getting the baking spices,
Mhm.
that come with that heat. Not a lot on the front end, but that really
Mhm.
kind of thick mouthfeel that really
Yeah.
coats the tongue.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is a lot younger than the Buffalo Trace.
Mhm. Yeah. So this is probably they're getting it pulling it. You think right at the 4-year mark, Fred? Probably right around there, because it's
Yeah,
bottom
3.
bond. So we know it has to be 4.
Oh,
So
that's right. Yeah. So right
Yeah.
at the 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So I assume they're pulling it right. As soon as it hits 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we think like regular Buffalo Trace is what, more like 6 years or something?
Oh no, it's about 8.
8. Wow.
It's between 7 and 9.
Holy cow. That's
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
really cool for just
Yeah.
a standard offering. That's
Yeah.
no wonder it tastes so good all the time. Huh. Interesting. I didn't know it was that old. So
Mhm.
if I have heard it before, I forgot it. But that happens. Right, Justine? Sometimes I forget stuff.
Yeah.
Justine, what are your thoughts on as you taste this one? Any notes you want to talk about?
I agree with the baking spices, but I'm also getting like a roasted peanut.
Roasted peanut. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Anything else, Casey? Anything?
No, not particularly. It's sort of kind of a one note,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
bourbon. I guess if you have a taste for it, it's going to be awesome because you can really, I mean, it's like $12 a bottle or something.
Right. It's cheap. It's cheap.
And it's not bad, but there's almost no complexity to it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll see what time does to that. Sometimes time is kind, as we know. We'll see. Let's pour our last one, which will be the Stagg Junior. But again, we'll set that aside. That's our highest proof offering of the night, the Stagg Junior. So we'll put that aside. This is the Stagg Junior is 127.9. Once you pour that, grab your Stagg, and I'll talk just a little bit about this first. Of course, George T. Stagg is a real person. He was born in 1835. He lived until 1893. His initial job was a shoe salesman. So he was a shoe salesman, but then he joined the Union Army, fought in the Civil War. And then after the Civil War, he moved to St. Louis. St. Louis. He was a St. Louis guy, which I like. I like anything connected to St. Louis. And George T. Stagg moved to St. Louis, and he became a liquor salesman. So he got some investors, some backers, and of course, very different than it is today. Not a 3-tiered system or anything like that. Basically, if you're in the liquor wholesale distribution, you're going to different distilleries, calling them, finding working deals, buying things. You're not limited to representing certain. You can sell whatever. So they started selling Colonel E.H. Taylor stuff, and were doing really well with it. Developed a relationship, and Colonel Taylor, they were moving a lot of his stuff, and unfortunately, Colonel Taylor ran into some financial difficulties. Kind of got in over his head a little bit. I understand that. I think Colonel Taylor's an honest businessman, but whiskey, when you're talking about something that has to age, it's easy to get messed up on the numbers. And ultimately, he had financial problems. And George T. Stagg and his investors bailed him out of that. But at the same time, Stagg took over control of the distilleries. So, he retained Colonel E.H. Taylor to basically run the operations. And Stagg, my understanding, traveled back and forth from St. Louis. So his family didn't move from St. Louis to Kentucky. They stayed back in St. Louis, and he'd, of course, go to the distillery. He wasn't always in St. Louis, but he'd travel back and forth. His family liked it in St. Louis, which makes sense. They probably lived near where I live today. And so Stagg, they continue to do that. Ultimately, over time, though, the relationship soured. I mean, Colonel E.H. Taylor is kind of a type A personality. Anything you read about him, and of course, being the second fiddle, I don't think that sat well with him. And over time, that relationship sours. And ultimately, they work out a deal, basically a situation where Colonel E.H. Taylor leaves, and then, of course, has the old Taylor distillery. So he would, have his own distillery at that point. George T. Stagg would continue to have those, and it ended up being, bad for Stagg too. I mean, because Colonel Taylor did a lot for the business. I mean, he continued was the day-to-day, and as Stagg had to go back, his health began to decline when he had to run the place full time. It was very difficult for him, and he ultimately had to get out of the business, and then died relatively young. So dying in 1893, relatively young man. But as a tribute to him, in what I believe it's, I don't know if I wrote it down here, but it was like 1904 or something like that. Yeah, 1904. They renamed it the George T. Stagg Distillery for all the work that he had done. So I thought that was very nice, and it continued to be under that name all the way up until the time when Sazerac bought it. There's some saying that you can help me out here on this, Fred. Was it ever named like the Ancient Age Distillery or something like that, or was it never even officially that? Was it just kind of known as that at one time?
It was like the Ancient Age division of George T. Stagg. So
Okay.
it was never officially the Ancient Age.
That's what I thought. It was never like official. It was always technically the George T. Even though a lot of people just called it, Ancient Age. But yeah. Gotcha. So what we're going to be tasting tonight is the whiskey that was named after him. This is the 2019 version. Comes in at 116.9, which is low for George T. Stagg. George T. Stagg is typically a very high proof, so this is on the lower end of the Stagg that have been released, part of the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. So,
Steve,
yes.
see, 19 and 20, maybe 8. Those barrels came from the lower floors of the warehouse. That's why the proof has been low
Mhm.
the last couple of releases.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and of course, this year it again didn't live up to the quality standards and very high standards, and they felt it wasn't worthy of the George T. Stagg name, so they didn't put it out. I don't know. There's a lot of, unfortunately, Buffalo Trace got a lot of criticism for this, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories. I mean, I don't know if you see all that stuff running out, but it's crazy, stupid conversations. I don't even understand what the angle people think is happening, because Buffalo Trace sells out every bottle they've ever created of George T. Stagg. So there's no reason to play games. I mean, there's they'll just sell out no matter what happens. So yeah, you just hear this crazy stuff, but I like the fact that there's standards, and if you don't feel it's up to it, you don't force something out, just throw it on the market and be like, they'll buy it no matter what. No, that didn't put it out. I think that's very admirable. I think it's really a cool thing. So yeah, well, hopefully George T. Stagg will be back next year. To me, it's the king, the king of bourbon, George T. Stagg. It's just my favorite. I like a nice high proof, and it's always got such great flavor. So let's see if this 2019 has some great flavors here. We'll start on the nose, of course. I mean, it's like liquid caramel,
Yeah.
some brown sugar, kind of little burnt brown sugar type of thing going on.
A little banana too.
Banana, yeah, because it's also
A lot of vanilla.
Yeah, kind of fruity too. I mean, there's so much there. Just take put it away, bring it back, and it smells like something else. Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, it's even like plums. I mean, there's some dark fruits there too.
Kind of like a
Ooh.
banana split.
Banana split. Yeah.
Yeah, I even get a little whiff of chocolate too.
Yeah. Goes on that banana split.
There's something really warm. It's a really warm, sugary, maybe bananas Foster.
Yeah. I do love bananas Foster.
With a little drizzle of fudge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like soothing to the nose,
It is. It definitely is. Yeah.
A lot of nose, but subtle.
Yeah. Boy, that is good. All right, let's taste this one. This is worth the cheers. I mean, George T. Stagg, come on. Cheers, gang. Oh, wow. I mean, that is impeccable. I mean, it's perfect. I mean, it drinks so easy. Is that spice that warms you up at the end. Kind of, you get a little of the rye spice in there. Sweet. I mean,
it's a lot easier going down than the other two. The other two were pretty harsh.
This one sticks around, really kind of coats the mouth, and just you continue to open the flavors just even now, even 10, 20, 30 seconds later.
Yeah.
It's get a spicy buildup after a period.
Yeah, it's liquid goodness for sure. I mean, mouthfeel is just perfect. I mean, it's,
as Fred Minnick says, it's a flavor bomb.
It is a flavor bomb. It definitely is. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. This one is spot on. Maybe the definition of a flavor bomb.
There's so much in it.
Yeah.
It takes time to pull them all apart. Vanilla wafers.
Yeah.
The caramel, the leather, the oak.
There's some of that chocolate in there too. We talked about on the nose. I can taste a little bit of chocolate in there, almost like chocolate chip cookies or something.
I get the chocolate too.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the color on this thing too, compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
I mean, they are,
Yeah.
I mean, it is chock full of good stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're talking about Stagg is mahogany, and then the other ones are anywhere from yellowish to orange, orangish, you know. So this one, yeah, it's beautiful.
So I'll tell you my Stagg story real quick. So
Okay.
Virginia ABC does a thing where they will email you out a thing saying, we're going to have the following bottles in on such and such a day, and you got to line up, and they'll give you tickets and things like that. And they had a day where they had E.H. Taylor stuff, Elijah Craig 18, George Stagg, and some of the Weller stuff, and the Old Forester 150. And they don't tell you which stores are going to get which. They say they're going to have at least one bottle of each of these, and a total of 25 bottles. So now I would have been happy to have any of those. So I was just going to go
Right.
and get in line at some point. And I was out actually camping in the middle of nowhere, Virginia. I mean, literally right outside a lake that's basically a summer destination with all the summer houses and things, and not a lot of locals. And the tiny little liquor store was about 10 miles away. So I was like, they're going to open at 11:30. I'll get there around 8:30, and I'll probably be towards the back of the line.
Right.
Well, city slicker that I am did not really bank on the fact that when I pull up there, half the line looks like Eskimo because they're dressed in their deer hunting outfit. And I thought to myself, well, gee, I should have thought that these people are used to getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and sitting on their butts waiting for a deer to walk by. They're going to have no problems waiting in line for a bottle of bourbon.
Right.
So I ended up not getting a spot in line because basically, you know, once you got to 25, they would just say, yeah, we're 25, you know, and no point in waiting. But I almost got a bottle.
You almost got
I would have got a bottle if I was a little smarter about, you know, how dedicated people are about their bourbon in the middle of nowhere, Virginia. So
yeah.
next time I'll think twice.
So you thought you had it figured out. You're like, I'll go to the remote place. There probably won't be anybody there, and boom. Yeah.
And all the deer hunters are lined up.
Yeah.
They're ready to go. They don't mind getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Heck no.
Sitting in the dark and the cold. They're all bundled up in their thermals.
They got all the stuff. They got the gear for that.
Yeah.
And then buying a bottle they can take out. Yeah.
And they're used to waiting too. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, better luck next time, I guess. Anything else to say about Stagg before we move on to Stagg Junior?
Ooh, I just got like some cedar notes. This thing really is a flavor bomb.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Incredible.
I just tasted it, you know, kind of raisinish on that taste. So it evolves. I'm sure this one's going to taste a little bit different when we come back to it, which will be interesting. So we'll put it aside and grab the Stagg Junior. Just a little bit about Stagg Junior I got here. So this Stagg Junior was introduced in the fall of 2013. It is still Stagg Junior. So by the way, people know that the name's been replaced. It's going to be Stagg, but that hasn't happened just yet. In theory, it's happened, but that'll be with the next release. So they've got batch 17 out now, same look, Stagg Junior it's called. Batch 18 though, and again, they don't necessarily tell you. So you're somewhere between first quarter and second quarter 2022. It's guessed that when that comes out, then that one will be just called Stagg. So that'll be the new name. Interesting. I mean, you know, I feel like the name's so established, Stagg Junior, that why would you change it? I don't know that it was a great idea coming out of the gate, you know, because it sounds like junior, lesser product, but I think that's where they're trying to distance themselves. But it's so established. I mean, it's a well-known brand in its own right. So it's interesting that they've elected to change that, but it is what it is. It comes out twice a year, I guess. They do 2 batches a year. This is from batch 11, which was the winter of 2018 is when this one came out. I guess these, Fred, are around 8 to 9 years old. Is that what you would say too on Stagg Junior? Okay.
It's basically non-chill filtered barrel proof Buffalo Trace. So
Yeah.
it's aged, right. Because the Stagg itself is aged 15, 16 years. So
Right.
Stagg Junior half of that. So
Half of that.
8 years. 8 years. Yeah.
8 years. Okay. Yeah.
About 8. Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. Have you seen the new packaging, Fred, or anything? I haven't seen
No.
it. I don't know what it's going to look like.
Mm-mm.
It'll be interesting to see the reaction when that comes out. Bourbon fans will probably lose their mind, and I'm sure they'll be highly coveted that first release. You know how this stuff is. It's just everything's crazy. So yeah. All right, let's give this one a taste. Again, it comes in at 127.9. Proceed with caution, folks. That's pretty high.
Hey, the first release, that first release was 134.4.
Wow.
The
134.4.
very first release. Yeah.
It's
Get
good
that
on the
juicy
nose.
fruit.
Juicy fruit.
Yeah. Big
Yep.
time.
Big time juicy fruit. It's very fruity. First juicy fruit
Sweet.
reference line.
So
Sweet.
Kind of that bazooka gum.
Yeah.
Get a lot
Definitely-
of sweetness on the nose.
A lot of sweetness. Yeah. Not when we're talking about the George T. Stagg, boy, it was just a little bit of everything. This to me is more everything along. If you got that wheel, everything's kind of in that sweet thing. You might be able to pick out some different notes, but I think they're all along the lines of the sweet sensations. Interesting. All right, last one of the night. Cheers, gang. Cheers, Stagg Jr.
Oh, this one's a dangerous one.
This is, yeah.
I could drink a lot of this. I think it is the Mcnew Porch drinker.
Yes, yeah, the famous, drink till you fall off the porch.
Ooh.
It's got
Yeah,
it's got less of a hug, frankly, than the Stagg.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is unique.
It
Oh,
doesn't
sorry.
drink it more. It doesn't drink it.
No, it doesn't. Which sometimes these stags, I have found they do. Have you found that too, Fred? Where some of them are pretty hot. This one is not. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been so. In the past, they've been.
Here recently, they've been.
They've been. Of course, the proof hasn't been as high recently either. But
Mhm. But still, I mean, this is almost 128, 127.9.
I know.
It does not drink like that. There's no
Mhm.
way. No, this one drinks.
Normally,
It's-
something like that would fry my taste buds, but
Right.
this is good.
That
Still
sweetness
getting
is there
that
on the
juicy
taste too.
fruit, that
Yeah.
juicy fruit
Yeah,
right up
that's what I'm saying
front,
too. Yeah.
and then that nice kind of lingering burn
Mhm.
with notes of wood and campfire and
Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting a little fruity notes too. So maybe like a pear or something like that, I would say would be the fruit that I'm getting. Kind of a clean fruit taste. But definitely,
I can see that.
definitely on the juicy fruit sweet gum side for sure is a big player here. What about you, Fred?
the finish is shorter than the Stagg.
Yeah, it is.
Goes
It
away,
is.
but at the beginning, it kind of built up in the mouth and then kind of went away.
Yeah.
But super smooth. I mean,
Yeah.
for these high proof, come on,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm notoriously bad at drinking the high proofs, and I could drink this all day.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
There was an incident there. Yeah.
Friday night fight time.
Yeah, exactly.
every night fights.
How about you, Justina? Any notes on the taste on this one?
Getting like a sweet floral, like a honeysuckle,
Okay, honeysuckle. That's good. Yeah,
but still, I mean, falls in line with the sweet,
yeah,
fruity.
yeah. This is really good. I mean, makes me want to go out and find some more George T. Stagg now for sure. Tasting this one.
Yeah, I'm going to be earlier next time around.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah,
If I could get my hands on it, it would be great. Addition.
absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's also put that one aside. And of course, we like to go back and go one more time So I don't, you might want to clear the palate after the old 128 there. I'm gonna do a little water here. Because we're going to circle all the way back to our 90 proof start here with Buffalo Trace. So it's the 90 proof Buffalo Trace offering.
I feel like the nose disappeared.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's still, I mean, it doesn't have that kind of bouquet of
Right.
alcohol. It still noses, you know, that caramel,
A little vanilla custard in there.
vanilla, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm
it
getting
doesn't,
some of
it's
that,
not
but
as,
yeah.
it's not as kind of
Yeah.
explosive as it was.
Yeah. It was very bold the first time we went through, and it's definitely more muted
Yeah.
with the time on it. So a combination of some air time being on it. And then of course we went all the way up the scale to, you know, almost 128 proof too. Maybe a little evolution in us as the drinkers, but all right, let's try see if there's any difference in the taste.
Yeah, I think the 128 totally overpowers it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like water. at this
Yeah.
point.
That wasn't our reaction the first time we tried this, but at this point it feels like you're drinking water. So that's why you never want to go down in the proof. I mean, it just feels like now you're talking about getting in trouble. 90 proof will kick your ass if you're, if you're just slamming one after another, which you can feel like you could easily do at this point after that 128. So yeah, this feels like nothing. I mean, it feels just like a dessert thing. Like you got like a pudding shooter or something, you know, it's like,
Yeah, I
whoa.
still get a little bit on the tip of the tongue, you know, a little bit of that caramel cream.
Yeah. Flavor's good. It's solid for sure.
yeah.
There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
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 And don't forget the Stagg and Stagg Junior are non-chill filtered also.
Oh, true.
And this is chill filter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that does make a difference. Those fatty acids.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're good. They taste good.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, what are you gonna say? They taste good. So all right. Well, the next one's going to be an interesting one because we felt like the benchmark definitely wasn't its best showing. So let's see, maybe some time, maybe it's helped it. We'll see. Hopefully.
So this has closer to the nose that the Buffalo Trace had first time around.
Yeah.
It's a little more present.
Oh yeah, much more present.
Yeah. Kind of like a buttercream frosting now. I mean, on the nose,
Mhm.
which is a good thing.
Those little wafer crackers that have like the checkerboard, and then they have like
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Vienna fingers or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
the nose reminds me of those.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. All right, let's taste it. Let's see what we got. I think it feels like it's a little better on the nose. Let's see on the taste. I mean, it's interesting. I feel like it's changed. A little bit citrusy, not a whole lot there though. Again, just not enough depth to this one versus what we've seen on all of our other ones, even the regular Buffalo Trace. That just the depth isn't there with this one.
Yeah, this one was a one note. For
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's also
got a good
not a
mouthfeel,
standout.
some
Yeah.
coating, nice coating, decent hog.
Yeah.
But not a lot of complexity.
For its price, again, $15.
Yeah.
You know, you could do worse in life for sure. Some of the other ones that are out there.
I feel like the viscosity of this one held up after the 2 higher proof, whereas the last one, going back to that, was like drinking water. But I feel
True.
like still a good
Yeah,
potency.
it does still feel like whiskey in your mouth versus the other one. It did feel like you were just drinking water or something.
Yeah.
Definitely a good point. Yeah. Again, good, but doesn't hit the great level for sure. Now, this next one, we'll see. I think it will. I think it could be great. George T. Stagg, folks. We're going back to that one. Wow.
Yeah, there's more of a nose, much more.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
Ooh.
oh, that's like,
Mhm.
that's got everything in there from butterscotch to brown sugar to even like rice pudding. I kind of smell, that's kind of got a unique nose to it, the rice pudding.
Vanilla, a lot of vanilla. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It does have a lot of vanilla.
Still sticking with my banana split.
Banana split. Okay.
I feel like that has everything. It's got
That true.
the nuts, the cherries, the chocolate.
It's got that chocolate. Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, this is, I drink a lot of muskets. And this is almost like a tawny port or a musket.
Okay.
It's really got that kind of special creamy note to it that marks a good tawny port
Mm-hmm.
with that chocolate behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's give it a taste. I need to hit the lottery where I can afford just to drink this one every night. This would be my everyday drinker. You come over to my house, I got all these different bottles, all this stuff. Do you imagine coming to my house? You only see George T. Stagg, just bottle after bottle after bottle. That would be Steve after he hit the lottery.
That's a spice explosion there.
It is.
Oh, mercy, the boom.
Yeah, yeah. That's as big as bold as you find.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, yeah. But it's not overpowering either.
Oh no. It's a controlled explosion.
Yes.
It's like when they in Vegas, they take down a hotel. That's very controlled.
Yeah.
They know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's like this. It's very controlled. It's just, I feel like you could take out that wheel and throw out any tasting note and you can find it in this one. It's that deep in character.
Yeah, this one is one that you can just contemplate and just kind of muse over. It's got the creamy luxuriousness to it that comes in right before the heat. And then you just got all these kind of flavors cycling through your mouth.
Yeah.
And every sip is different.
Yep. And it does exactly what you want to. Yeah. It warms up nicely. Never is hot though. I don't like when they're hot.
No.
This is never hot. It's not hot. It's warms up.
The finish is still there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I haven't taken a drink for a little bit and it's still in my mouth. I can feel it reacting in there. And it's not only just warming up, different tastes are in your mouth as you just sit there too, which is wild. And it leaves a good taste in your mouth. Some of them can be drying at the end, or sometimes it can be, a bourbon can be bitter at the end. You go through and you're like, it tastes really good. And then after you're sitting there for a while, you get like a bitter taste in your mouth. None of that at all is happening. It's all good stuff. Oh man. That is good. That is good. Anything else we want to add for the official record here? George T. Stagg. All right. Put that aside and then we'll go back to our Stagg Junior one last time. Our Stagg Junior. It's got very subtle notes. I mean,
yeah,
it's not huge, bold by any means.
Still get that bubble gum.
Bubble gum is definitely there.
Yep.
Way to go. A little caramel.
Caramel, yeah.
Sweet though, just a sweet nose.
Yeah, kind of like if you get the bread pudding at Bourbon's Bistro, some of the flavors from that are there on the nose. All right, let's try it. Here we go. I mean, I can't believe how easy it drinks.
Yeah,
Mouth feels incredible.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Not quite as much as the Stagg, but
you're right,
No.
right.
it's got less of a, it's got a spice explosion, but less of.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
hmm
I'm getting this time a little bit different than the first time. The first time was kind of the juicy fruit or maybe bazooka bubblegum. This time it feels like a little bit more like the big red, kind of a little
Yeah.
cinnamon. I'm getting a little
I
cinnamon.
was saying,
Oh,
get
yeah.
cinnamon and cloves. So
Yeah.
you're kind of getting that bitey
Yep.
spice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I just got that on the end.
Yeah, I didn't catch that the first
Yeah.
time, but definitely the second time through. How about you, Justine? Any notes on the second time through?
I definitely pick up on the clove.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much the cinnamon, but the clove.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Taste that bite at the end. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's
Almost
pretty
an
good.
anise kind of
yeah.
note.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Good finish. The spice is just building up and building up.
yeah. Yes, it is.
Mm, on the upper palate. Ooh.
Yeah. It's all in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Still think this drinks like a lower proof than.
Oh,
Then even the
Totally.
Stagg, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I want to put it. If I had to guess, so you just pour this for me and say, Steve, guess. I mean, with the finish, I would know that there's some proof there. So I would say like 110. I would say it's even less than like
105.
yeah, somewhere in there. 110, 105. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not-
I was gonna. I would say like 107.
yeah. Not
Right.
high at all.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting. Very good. Well, we do want to vote on this. So I'll give you just a second to get your list. I'm predicting, I'm going to be so bold as I predict everyone's list is going to be exactly the same on this one. This is, we'll see if I'm right. I predict, I've got mine written down already. I know what I'm going to, and I predict everyone's is the exact same, but we'll see. We'll see. I could be proved wrong here.
Well, I don't know. I know number 1 and number 4, but the other two could.
Okay. Well, that's what I think we'll all end up with the same, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll give you guys just a second to again rank them, 1 being your favorite, all the way down to 4 being your least favorite of the evening. Not saying anything's bad, just 1 to 4. You have to say put them in that order. So you're ranking them based on that. All right, let me take just a second here. Put my own scores in here. Okay. All right. Everyone's still kind of doing a little side-by-side tasting, making sure they get that list right.
It's hard because I can't go back and taste the first one the way that it tasted when I first tasted it.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
I mean, I might as well just pour myself a glass of water.
Right. Exactly.
So it's kind of hard to put the two together.
Yeah. Justine, are you prepared to share your list?
No.
I don't think so. She's doing a little side-by-side there. She's still working on the finishing. It looks like.
I know 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 are throwing me.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. You got to get it right though. I've locked in. I cannot change my votes. They're locked. They're put into the official scoring system of the ABV network. Casey, are you ready? You look like you're
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. What was your favorite?
So the Stagg was my favorite 3.
Okay.
And then the second was kind of tough because again, I could go back and retaste, but I'm going to go with the Stagg Junior number 2.
Okay.
I'll go with the Buffalo Trace number 3 and the the benchmark number 4.
Okay. Okay. Fred, how about you?
Ditto.
Ditto. Okay.
I third that vote.
Okay. And me too. Exactly like I said it would be.
Shocker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
if I could have tasted the Stagg Junior, and I think it would have been close.
Mhm.
Stagg Junior and the Buffalo Trace, because the Buffalo Trace, when we first tasted it, was so explosive on the nose and so interesting for, just a standard bourbon that I was really impressed.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably see if I can source a bottle somewhere.
Yeah. So our final scores, just to reiterate, is Benchmark got 4, Buffalo Trace got 8, Stagg Junior got 12, and George T. Stagg got 16. So that is definitely our champion. Again, kind of what I thought based on conversation. So I'm gonna grab my Stagg though. I want to enjoy that one. That's the one I'm pulling over first. I got a little bit enough left here to enjoy a little bit here. So, but that is the official tasting of this. Again, we'll make this available out via YouTube. So, track these down yourself and let us know what you think of these. And but our winner tonight, clearly, the king once again retains its crown, George T. Stagg. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care, everybody. See ya.